guys, it's Tanya with Scraptastic Creations. Today I'm going to do a one-page layout using the Flower Shop collection. This collection is absolutely gorgeous. I love these papers. And I'm going to do probably a little series with this Flower Shop paper because I am going to scrapbook my son's wedding with it. So this is my son Colton and this is his beautiful wife Lily. And I am going to use these photos as my opening page in my album. So these colors feature some beautiful ballerina, capri, flamingo, honey butter, pine, raspberry, sage, sapphire, white daisy. And I just thought there's a variety of colors and I can totally pull in the blues and stuff from his beach wedding. And I just think that they will match just perfectly. Okay, brings in her flowers and I love it. So this is the sticker sheet. These sticker sheets are great cardstock quality. So I got some beautiful sayings here. There's a UV coating on some of these stickers, so it adds just that extra flair. I think this is going to come out beautifully. And I do have the embellishment assortment. I never let the embellishment assortment get away. I always make sure I order it. I don't think this is available right now, but when you see these paper collections and they come with the embellishments, always grab the embellishments with your paper collection because you can do a lot of things with these. There's a lot of beautiful, all smiles, beautiful, like these little banners and this and sign, you know, Mr. and Mrs. And I love, look at this, best day, this acrylic shape. How perfect is that going to be, huh? There's you and me, love this, some pretty flowers. So I'm super excited to show you what I'm going to do with this. So I'm going to get this cleaned up. So I went ahead and brought my Versamat in and brought a piece of sapphire and that flower print and then a sheet of white daisy cardstock. And then I want to show you, I went ahead and got my pieces, okay? Because I'm going to save these so I can use them for some other layouts in this album. And I went ahead and cut this one and I just put it in my cutter and came down an inch and then cut it down to the 11. And then I just turned it and did the same thing. And then I went ahead and cut this one down to 11 by 11 and then cut this one down. I came in at 2.5 and then, or I came in at 2 inches, sorry, and took that down to where I had 2 inches left and then turned it and did the same. And then I brought my white daisy in and it is 8.5 by 8.5. And I like these combinations and I'm going to put these photos probably, like this. And I'm thinking that I want to make this look like a subtle wood grain background. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to move this and bring in my all-purpose mat. So I went ahead and brought my all-purpose mat in. We're going to put some ink on that. And I brought in my scoreboard and I'm just bringing in my white daisy. And I'm going to randomly score this. I did create a video on how to create your own wood grain backgrounds. And I'm just, so if you want to catch that whole thing, by all means, check it out. It's about 5.5 minutes long. And I show you some really cool techniques and some samples on that. So I'll link that into the description so it's easy for you to find. So that's it. I just scored it randomly in different spots. And I am going to get my mink ink. So I'm bringing in my mink. And then I'm going to just give it a real quick. And I did flip this over to where the score lines are on top. And I'm just going to give this a light rub. And create my wood grain that way. Now normally I would kind of run it over another time, but I'm not wanting to do that this time. I'm wanting to be a real light, subtle effect. Okay, so I know that I want my photos to go like this. And I'm thinking of bringing in these two pattern pieces, and I'm thinking I only want a little bit of this showing, and I'm probably going to kind of stagger it like this. And I'm thinking I'm going to put those here for those photos to kind of rest on. So I'm going to do that like this. And then I was thinking that these needed some kind of mat. So I brought in a few pieces and I was kind of playing with what color mat I thought would look good. Did I want 1/8 of an inch around it, or did I want maybe just 1/16 of an inch around? And I do like the sage, that color sage. I do like that in the background, but then I was thinking of the capri, and I know I have capri right here, but I was looking at the water in the background, and I was thinking that if I used the lighter side of the capri, that I would like that a little better. So I've got the capri here, and I just think it makes the water pop, just the colors in the photo pop a little more. And your photos are supposed to be like the main thing on your layout, right? Because that's the purpose of us scrapbooking. So I'm thinking I like that, even though that's right there. And I could switch that and put the stripe it up and have the dot on the bottom, and we can play with that and look at that. So I'm thinking like right about there. And then I want to bring in the layered flowers. I love these layered flowers. If you don't have these, I highly recommend having these in your collection, because I have utilized these like crazy. You can do so many things: birthdays, friends, anniversaries, weddings, cards. I mean, I have done so much stuff with this, okay? So I highly recommend, if you don't have that, to get that. And I'll leave the link in my description. If you go on to my description and you press more, I have all the products that I'm using listed down in there. And if you click on those links, it helps support me. So I really appreciate that. And I just want to show you, I cut them in a couple different colors, but I cut them in that bashful color, and I'm using the lighter side of the bashful. Our cardstock at Close to My Heart is two-toned, so I love that because you get a light side and a dark side. And I'm going to put the white on top of that, and then I'll put this piece that cut out. I'm going to put it right back on there. And I know you're like, oh, you're almost covering the whole thing. I just want that peak, that pink barely peeking out, okay? So I did put them together, and I added the little gold in the middle. That is this thing right here. So I cut those, and I'm wanting to put these up here. And then I'm wanting to put like 3 down here. So I got those ready right here. So I'm thinking these here. And then I went ahead and cut the leaves in, and just so you know, in case you haven't seen my other videos, I glued these together, and then I kind of just shaped them. I used my piercing tool to begin with to shape them, and then I just kind of used my fingers and kind of molded them how I want. And I always push in the middle when I do that, so I get like a little bit of an indent there. And then I'll glue down in the centers, we'll give it more of an indent. And I did cut these, so this is what that looked like. So I just had these pieces, and I just put them together. So then I had, I cut the leaf out in sage, and it gives it this nice, cute little stitch. So I'm thinking about bringing some of those in on this layout. And then I want to tell you something that I did, and you're going to be like, what? But yes, I really did do it, okay? And you're probably looking at this paper thinking it looks just a little bit different, and yes, it is a little bit different. So I'm going to show you what I did. So I'm thinking of pulling, several of these leaves in. And then let's do one up here. Okay, so we'll pull those in, and I like the gold. It just gives it a little more, you know, this is my son's wedding, so we want to give it a little more bling to it. And it kind of like makes the middles of our flowers kind of pop, and I like that. So then I was thinking, and I haven't forgot about the paper in the background. I was thinking about I'm going to bring in these Picture My Life Love Story Gold. These are pocket cards that you can use to add additional pages in your layout or on your album, and I will be doing that. But they have just a lot of different gold foil on these, and I really like them. So I'm going to bring them into this. And I chose these two, and I'm going to just slip these back here just to add a little bit more of that gold. I just think it gives it like another pop right there. And then I'm going to add this one, but I'm going to carefully get out one of my circle die thin cuts, and I'm going to cut this circle out, and I'm going to use that right here. Not sure what I'm going to put on it yet, but there's no reason to like use all of this card and hide it. So I'm probably going to cut a little bit here off of this gold. So I'll have another piece to tuck in somewhere else on another page. And I'll do the same to this. So we'll have like this little piece right here that we can kind of, it'll be popped up. But I'm going to pop this up. Let's do it behind the dot. So I'm going to like have this like this, just so you see just a little bit of that gold. And so, I mean, really, why waste that? So I'm going to cut that circle out. I'm going to use that circle, and then I'm going to have the bottom half for another part to tuck under somewhere. So I thought that would be cute right there. And I do like the pop of color that it gives. So I might end up moving these down a little as well. Let me tell you real quick. You see this pattern paper back here? You see this color? And if you look at this one, it's much brighter. Here, let's compare. Look at the color on that. You see how it's much brighter? So this color is avocado. I really just didn't want that. Like, I wanted to use these sage color leaves. And I could have stuck them there and it would have been fine, but I just didn't want it like that. So I was like, I need to change that paper up. I need to make that a darker green, like a more darker version of the sage color. So, for real, I took my vintage blue, my Tri-Blend Spectrum Noir marker. This is 3 markers in one. If you don't have these markers, these are my favorite all-time markers. I love these things. They blend smoothly. These are fabulous. And you get 3 markers in one. You get 3 different shades. So you got a dark, a medium, and a light. So I took the light side of the vintage blue, and I colored each one of these flowers twice. And I got this nice, and I know you're like, blue, you colored the green. Yes, because it made it more of this dark sage color. So if you only want one shade on it, put one shade on it. But I went ahead and colored each one of these flowers, the leaves, just the leaves. So that's how I gave it that darker color, which I really like how it came out. Okay, so I'm thinking now I am going to bring in my Cricut art booking, and I'm sure there's lots of different ones in design space, and just use whatever you have. But I'm going to bring in this always and forever. And I could just use individual letters, which we have tons of those. There's the Moxie alphabet. I mean, we have tons of alphabets that are really cool die cuts. But I want to use this. It's all together. I like it. And so I cut that at 2 inches on my Cricut. And I cut it in all these different colors. So I'm like, well, I mean, that's okay, right? It pops pretty good. And then I kind of put it in, okay, I got it stuck here a little bit. I put it in this sage color that matched the leaves. And I laid that, just doesn't, sure it matches, but it just doesn't stand out to me. So definitely didn't like the white. And I'll tell you the reason I cut the white. I laid the blue there and I liked the blue. And I cut the white because I thought, well, maybe if I do it like this. But honestly, sure, it's pretty. It's unnecessary. It doesn't really show. So I think what I'm going to do is just cut this like 2 more times just to give it a raise. It'll raise it, and I like the way that'll look. So I'm going to pop that, and I'm going to put this here, and I'm going to make sure it is on my wood grain paper so it really stands out, because if I have it up here, it kind of gets washed away. It really needs to have that background to pop. So I'm going to stick that there. So now I need to cut this out and figure out what we're going to do here. And I was thinking maybe a little word down here or something, or maybe a little part of a tag coming out, something like that. And then I have another idea. So I'm going to get these glued together, but I'm not going to glue this because I'm thinking, what if we took gold and kind of put a border back there? I mean, just a thin border, how would that look? So I was like grabbing some pieces, and I'm thinking, well, how can I look at this real quick? And so I'm just grabbing some scraps that I have already cut up and seeing what I thought of that. Because, you know, this is a wedding album, and I want it to be sparkly and pretty, and, well, it's a wedding layout right now. So, yeah. So we could kind of have this sticking out like a 16th or an 18th or an 1/8 of an inch. So maybe that's a possibility. But I was thinking, let's put together some of this and kind of go from there and see. This kind of gives it a little softer effect, and this kind of gives it a wow effect. So I got my background pieces glued together. I haven't glued this together yet because I'm not sure, on my flowers, because I'm not sure if I'm going to add that gold glitter piece behind. I did go ahead and stamp this. I brought in the Love Story card making stamp and thin cut. And if you're watching this in March, this stamp and thin cut is on sale for $10. It's insane. Close to my heart is having a Stamptacular sale for all of the month of March, and their stamps are just super discounted, like up to 60% off on some of them. There's stamps on there for $3 and $5. So this is a great deal. It comes with the stamp and the thin cut. So I brought this in. He asked and she said yes. And I did go ahead and put that in my platform, so I could, my stamping platform, because I stamped it a couple times to be sure I got that crisp image, because I really wanted that blue to stand out. And I did bring in the sapphire ink. If you don't have that stamping platform, you can still just put it on a block and stamp it. I did it like 3 times because I just really wanted it dark. I did cut 3 of these, and that is on the sprigs and leaves. You guys, I have used this to death. This in the layered flowers is like, these are like staples to have in your stash. So I really love this. And I brought in 3 of these, and I cut them out in gold glitter, and I tore them and put them like this. And I think I'm going to do that. I haven't glued any of this down yet, but I think I'm going to do, it just adds a little more touch of that gold and brings it out. So I think I'm going to put a couple little sprig pieces here and there. So I just tore it in half and used this top half and kind of just kind of pressed it together and tucked it in. And then I ripped this little stem part off, and then I pressed these 2 together and put it in. So I literally just, you know, tore it like this and did this, and then tore this top piece off, and literally with my hands, I just did that and just kind of used it and tucked it in. So it added just a little bit of gold, and certainly you can leave them together, but I didn't want this big thing sticking out. So I just wanted these little tiny touches, and I really like that. So I'm probably going to do that, and I'll probably pop this up. And then I did put 3 layers. I glued 3 layers of my title together. It gives it I like the dimension it gives it without having to put the foam dots on it, or the foam tape on it. So I'm probably going to glue that down. I did have these glued down, and this was the circle I got off of that. And then I had these 2 pieces left over, and I threw them in my stash because I'm totally going to use these on another layout, like behind a photo like this. I think it's perfect. So I did bring in my T-square ruler, and I lined it up to my Versamat, and I did measure that to get that lined up straight. Highly recommend this if you don't have one. Even if you have one, I guarantee you this is way better than the one you have. It's super thick quality, has like these 1/8 of an inch measurements. This is phenomenal. This is a staple for sure. So I highly recommend that. Again, I'll leave all the supplies linked in the description. And if you can click on those and purchase from those links, it helps support me. And I really appreciate that so I can continue to grow. So I think I'm going to, at this point, I'm going to glue my title down. I'm going to glue this down. I'm going to pop it up and continue to rip this up and decide where I'm going to put it. And I think I'm going to cut that gold piece behind here, and I'm going to do it 1/8 of an inch bigger all the way around. And so this is 8.5, so it'll be 8 3/4 by 8 3/4. And I'm going to see how that looks, because I want to do that before I glue this down or these down. And I think that we could do that, bring that in, it'll add in that more of that glitter and that spark, and or the sparkle, and then maybe some sequins or glitter gems, and we can maybe call this done. So I'll be right back. So let me show you real quick how I'm going to do this, just in case you're not sure how to do it. I know I talked about gutting it, and I've gutted my stuff for years, and I just want to show you real quick, just in case you're not sure what I'm talking about. So you want to save your paper. You know, you spend the money for your paper and you want to get the most out of it. And, you know, so in this gold paper, you know, this is a little more pricey, and we want to utilize and save as much of this as we can for future projects. So if I put this down, it'd be great, but I don't want to waste this. So I'm only needing an 1/8 of an inch around, which is 1/4. So I'm going to probably, so I made this 1/4 bigger. I'm probably going to just take this to about, I'm going to give myself about 1/2 of an inch. And then I'm going to come down 1/2 of an inch. And then I'm going to bring this down all the way to 1/2 of an inch. Okay? And then I'm going to turn this, and I'm going to take this back to 1/2 of an inch. And I'm going to come back down here where I had it at the 1/2 of an inch. And I'm going to bring this up here to the 1/2 of an inch. So that's literally what I'm doing. I am cutting that, and I'm going to use this, and I will be able to save this whole piece in the middle for another project. Okay, so I got that glued down, and I did hold it down for a little while with my blocks. And I'm going to go ahead, I got some glue on here, and I'm going to start gluing down my flowers. So I'm going to bring in some loose gold sequins. And I'm not sure how many I'm going to use. I just want to use a couple, like a variety of them. So just going to pull some out and get out my pickup tool and kind of place them where I think I might want them. Now I will put some glue down after I decide where I want these. So I do like the placement of those, and I place them in at least groups of 3. And I always do kind of like a triangle kind of cluster. And so I'm going to just put a little dab of glue, use my pickup tool. This is a little wax pencil that you can sharpen and just use it. It works really great. I love how I can just pick these up, put a little glue down, and then place these down. So while I'm gluing these, let me just tell you that this is my son Colton, and I said that at the beginning, and this is his beautiful wife Lily. And both Colton and Lily served in the military, and my son met her in the military, and he brought her home from Texas. So my son left here out of high school, and came home, a man, and brought me this beautiful daughter-in-law, and I absolutely adore this girl. She's super sweet, and I couldn't have picked a better woman for my son, to love my son and care for my son and be the future mother of my grandchildren. And I'm super blessed as a mom, and I'm super proud of the both of them. And I know not everybody gets that. So it really it just blesses me. It's heartwarming, you know? So yeah, I really like that. And they recently had a wedding, and their wedding was in January. And this, they got married on Daytona Beach. So this was a wedding on the beach, and my husband got to affiliate that wedding. And it was really a great, heartwarming experience for us. I was considering adding a little word thing down here, but I really think I like it, and I don't want to mess with it. I think it's super pretty. I think that came out really nice, and it will have all the supplies listed in the description. And if you use those links, that supports me, and I really appreciate your help. If you haven't subscribed, go ahead and subscribe. And there will be more to this layout, or more to this album. This is going to be the beginning of the book. So this will be the cover page. So I will have more to this. So stay tuned. Till next time.